is the H. pylori test that your doctor prescribed for you to determine if you have H. pylori giving you the wrong results. I'm here to tell you that the results show yes. The chances are you are doing a test that is telling you don't have H. pylori, and you do. In fact, if you do the research, the H. pylori breath test, which is probably a test that you have been given if you had heartburn and gone to a GI doctor, and they said that it's negative, there are more false negatives based on the research than there are accurate results testing that you do actually have it. That means it's giving you the wrong answers, all right? This is horrific, right? Because at the heart of H. pylori is the heartburn issue that you're dealing with. And I probably said that backwards, but you know what I meant. At the heart of your heartburn is this potential H. pylori problem, which your doctor says you don't have. I'm here to tell you, you got to get the right test to determine if you have it or not. You may not, but if you do, you got to treat it because you will deal with heartburn and PPI medications for the rest of your life. The doctor will just say, keep taking it. It just keeps helping with the heartburn, but your heartburn never goes away completely unless you stay on that medication for the rest of your life. Let's figure out if you've got H. pylori, right? Here's what we do. The H. pylori breath test is a test where you suck in air and they're hoping to pull up gases that have built up in the stomach from an H. pylori infection. Now, if you're wondering what H. pylori is, I did a video talking about H. pylori, what it looks like, how it works in the stomach, how it causes damage, and certainly how it causes heartburn. Go to that video and watch that. That's not what this video is about. Once you understand what H. pylori is, you'll know then that the H. pylori lives in the wall of the stomach and can create its own gases, which build up in the stomach, which you can then breathe in, or excuse me, as you're breathing out, can push into this bag and they can measure it. The problem is this. H. pylori burrows its way into the wall of the stomach, okay? It kind of gets in there and nestles into the lining of the stomach and can lay dormant. It can be active and inside the stomach kind of doing damage, or it can kind of burrow into the wall of the stomach and be less active, hence dormant. If that's the case, it's not producing a lot of gas. And if that's the case, when you're actually doing that test at that time, at that moment, you won't get the gases coming up from the stomach. They'll measure the test and they'll say, no H. pylori. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Here's a better test. Think of it like this. You probably watch some sort of crime detective show. They're trying to solve a murder or some sort of crime case, right? Hundreds of shows like that over the years. In all of the most modern ones, what have they been using to help catch the criminal, catch the killer? DNA. Why are we doing a breath test for H. pylori when we can just run a stool test, which looks at the DNA of H. pylori as it's in your stomach and pushing down into the small intestine, through the large intestine, and then down through your stool? Why can't we just test for that? Doctors go burrowing in through stool and they can look for, using DNA technology called PCR, that PCR testing looks at little snippets of DNA related very specifically to one organism or another. In this case, if it's the H. pylori snippet, or a bacteria like staph or strep, or a parasite, or a yeast, there's very specific little snippets that they can read that in the PCR technology. And on that test, they can say, yep, you got H. pylori. Not only that, they can tell you how much H. pylori you have, and they can tell you if that H. pylori has developed resistance to certain drugs that are used to treat it. We'll talk about that in another video. Most importantly, we got to figure out if you have H. pylori. It's time to get that properly tested. This is what I do in functional medicine. We do this time and time again with our heartburn patients. You got to figure this out. The H. pylori breath test you are taking is not good enough. In the link to the description to this video, you have an opportunity to talk to me or my assistant, a 15 to 30 minute call. Get on the phone with us. Let's find out what's going on with you. You can get your questions answered as far as what you might were wondering about functional medicine and how our office works. Get those questions answered. I want to know if you're a good fit for our office. We want to know if that's something we think we can help you based on that. That's what that call is for. And we can start to get you on the process and the path to finding out, do you have H. pylori? Take advantage now. Stop suffering with your heartburn. I bet if you've got long-term heartburn, you probably have some degree of H. pylori. Could be mild, could be severe. Let's figure that out for once and for all.